Our MC is about to give the keynote, who is GREGG Katano, partner VP Strategy and Growth at Hologate. And Greg was doing double duty last night as the MC, and we had just amazing attendees there. So Greg, we can't wait for your talk this morning. Please take it away.
Oh, thank you, Molly. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I want to, give applause to you. You've been so gracious, and you're just tireless in all your effort in bringing all these wonderful people together. So it's an honor for me to be part of this very esteemed group of presenters. So thank you so much. And it was a blast last night, I got to tell you. It, it had its technical issues here and there, but for the most part, everyone had a really good time. And then we hung out in the museum. So thank you so much for that experience, including with this morning's presentation. Okay, so, oh, thank you. So my name's Greg, and just a little bit of the stuff that I'm working on right now. I am partner VP of Strategy and Growth for Hologate. We are a virtual reality company that specializes in location-based entertainment, and our system is around the world. We're just grateful at the tremendous support from family entertainment centers, movie theaters, bowling alleys, you name it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm also GM and VP of Business Development of Phase 2 in Culver City. It's a co-working space, but the owners and I, we curated it for frontier technology, media, and entertainment. So we have just an amazing assortment of cutting-edge companies in the space, and it's just been a dream of mine to have that type of collection of creative people in Los Angeles come together like this. And then another thing, I'm an advisory board member for the Producers Guild, the New Media Council. And then on the education side, I'm part of the Cal State University Entertainment Alliance. And also, most recently, actually a week ago, I was asked to join the board for CoLab, which is supporting the Boys and Girls Clubs of America here in Los Angeles. So, I got to say that it wasn't always like that. I wasn't always this busy, and went through some tough times, and which is why I felt that it might be helpful to share my story, share a little bit of Hologate's story, because both Hologate and I seem to have similar ups and downs, but we pushed through, and I feel that adversity, facing that adversity and just trying to stay positive and looking for the opportunities has really shown to be one of our stronger points. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But as Molly was mentioning about that event last night, so before I get into the presentation, here's a couple screenshots. This one's from my buddy Paul Heineck, who's actually here in the Zoom space. Thank you for taking this, Paul. And then the other person who sent me this, it was Zachariah. Thank you for sending me this late last night, and I wanted to include that. So thank you for being in the audience also. So the title of my talk today is Hologate VR, Transforming Adversity into Opportunity. But I thought last night that I would just make that adjustment and add myself to that too. So my journey and Hologate VR and how we overcame a lot of adversity to get where we are. So my hope from today's talk is that, maybe if you're interested in getting into virtual reality, that some of the steps that we had taken, some of the pathway to where we are now could be helpful. Maybe it'll help you avoid mistakes that we may have made, or maybe you'll see the thought process out of some of the decisions that Hologate has made and I've made as an individual. So yeah, hopefully we can find insight. and also inspiration. I've been lately been asked to talk about my story because it was challenging, and I'm not afraid or shy to talk about my challenges because I feel that I was able to crawl and grind out of my situation, and it brought me back to work with these amazing companies. Be working with somebody like Molly, being part of this talk, and I'm just grateful. And I got to tell you, I'm just so grateful that I'm back with the people I really enjoy being around, which is creative people and just gracious people like yourselves that are tuning in now, and the ones that I've been connecting with in the immersive world. So I want to thank you for all the support from all of you. And then last thing is, I know we're going through some challenging times, and I hope that all of you are safe and healthy right now. And you're always in my thoughts, and I miss you all. So I know that we'll all be embracing and handshaking and seeing each other soon. So okay, maybe not handshaking, but I can't wait for that moment, and I miss you all. So what I decided to do is have a timeline of my journey and Hologate's journey, which will actually show the ups and downs of what both Hologate and I have gone through, and it's hopefully it's interesting. So I started out in visual effects and doing. I was one of the earliest people getting into stereoscopic 3D when it was first coming out. I mean, I was an early adopter, and here are just some of the projects that I was behind. I actually produced the first HD 3D broadcast on television. We had 13.3 million viewers in that airing. I produced the X Games 3D movie, first job with Red Bull, and some other projects. And so 3D was a huge precursor to my journey towards virtual reality. But that didn't last. Visual effects and 3D, as we know, just couldn't sustain itself. It was, there's globalization that was going on, and also there was just this oversaturation of companies that could do the magic. Can basically do the production that I was doing. So I had to make the painful decision to close my studio, and at the time I had about 10 full-time staff and another 5 freelancers, and that was just incredibly hard for me. And I think ego and pride had me holding on to the company longer than I should have, but it was lesson learned, and I realized that I wasn't keeping my eye on the prize. Really, when I produce, I'd be in the trenches with everyone else, but I wasn't keeping an eye on the health of the company and where the next job was coming. So it wasn't a smart position for myself to be putting myself in, or the company. After that, well, during that time, I'll say before I talk about VR, is that I was struggling. I mean, I was really struggling. I had to, again, I'm not afraid to share this, but I had to borrow from my mother. I had to move in with my sister. It was a really, really tough time. And here I'm thinking, wow, at this juncture of my career, at this age, it was a really tough pill to swallow. But I tried to stay positive. Got showered, got dressed in the morning, went to the little office that I was able to barely afford, and that kept me going. I just had to keep pushing forward, and it was just painful just to keep my chin up. But I forced myself to go through the motions, and whatever energy that I can squeeze out of my body, out of my mind every day, I would try to see what that next opportunity was. And then VR popped up. I had some friends tell me, "Hey, Greg, because your 3D background, maybe you should check out this VR thing that's starting to happen. And that was about 2014, maybe. And so I went, okay, I'll go down that rabbit hole. Well, like I do with a lot of other things, it's a little bit of a sickness to be an early adopter, but I thought, yeah, it would be something to check out, just kind of check it off my box, if you will. And then I had the experience that probably a lot of you had. Oops. I experienced Showdown by Epic Games, and it was just completely transformative for me. It was magical, and it was a saying that I'd read a long time ago that if something doesn't seem magical, then it's probably obsolete. And I've lived by that, and there really wasn't a lot that seemed magical to me in media and entertainment. And then I see Showdown, and that completely changed my mind. And I knew I had to be in. And I started calling my friends, and I said, I just experienced something that just changed my life, and I'm all in. So I went back to my office for months, just grinding it out, trying to think about what is the area that I wanted to dedicate myself in VR. Is it content creation? Is it technology that we build? Camera systems. There are all these different pathways, and what I finally settled on, it was this aha moment. It was distribution. I said, wait a minute. In 3D, I learned that those 3D televisions were going to be it was going to have a tough time finding the buyer, because we had just finished upgrading from standard definition to high definition, and now we have to buy a 3D television. I mean, that was a fatal mistake. But also, there's a lack of content, and ultimately, you have to have that system out there to garner the eyeballs. And so I said, you know what? It's distribution. Okay, now that I know what area I'm going to focus on, what is it? What's the distribution platform that I feel that is gonna really help this move along? And funny, I settled on Google Cardboard. And people are saying, what? The Oculus, man. It's the Oculus Rift. That's the cool thing. And I go, no, I know it's cool, but it may take a while before people can buy it, people can afford it. I said, Google Cardboard, man. It's cheap. It's under $20. You can pop in your phone. Everyone has a smartphone. So I jumped all over Google Cardboard, and I approached Unofficial Cardboard. They were the one of the first makers of Google Cardboard. I became head of strategy, and here are some of the headsets. And if you can notice those little side tabs, they're actually adjustments for your interocular. And I helped design that because of my 3D experience. So some of you may have used those. And then I thought, wow, this is great. I'm pulling myself out of this deep, dark void, and figured out Unofficial Cardboard. Then I started being asked to do VR talks and consulting, and it's going, okay, I'm climbing back up. And then Unofficial Cardboard got sold, and then they laid me off. So I was going, oh, okay, well, that's a kick in the teeth. Now I thought I was gaining some momentum. Now what do I do? And then I reconnect with my buddy Chris Crisatelli of VR Fest. And Chris and I knew each other from the 3D days. We were working in parallel, but we had never worked together. So he and I started working together on VR Fest. And as many of you know, we're at CES, we're at NAB, South by Southwest, Sundance, and our goal was to really help the community in virtual reality. Nonprofit. We would dig into our pockets and hopefully have the money to cover it. And it was basically wanting to get access for our VR friends. So, so that they can share their creations, and also the public can experience virtual reality. And that, I think, was the spark of location-based entertainment. Anyways, we were doing that for a while, and then I meet Life Peterson. So for those that may not know Life is the founder of Hologate. And at the time, he had a company called Ignite doing visual effects, just like I did. And he was telling me about Hologate, and it seemed to it hit all the touch points that I was looking for in a system that would meet the public halfway. Because if people weren't going to buy it for their homes, then we had to find a way to get it out to them. And he said it was a small footprint, it was multiplayer, it was social, there was going to be television monitors so that people can see what's going on before they put on the headset. Could be feeling a little unsafe if they had never tried virtual reality. So very much in sync there. And I'm thinking, wow, this is great. Well, unbeknownst to me, here, I'll show you this slide. This is some of the work he was doing. I mean, Infinity, Ferrari, Ely. I mean, it was incredible, and he was winning awards. But unbeknownst to me, he was almost out of money. He saw the potential of virtual reality, and he started putting his money that he was making from his production company, visual effects company, into this Hologate development. And he was going all in because he knew it. He can taste it, and he had dreamt of this from a while ago. So we go, okay, what do we do? Kind of running out of money. It's getting kind of tight, and we decided to go to IAAPA in Florida. And IAAPA, as you know, is one of the biggest amusement park attractions event in the country. So we go down there, and here's some shots from 2017 in November. I'm just going to flip through these, and you can see there's the co-founder, Funky, Robert, and Life building the Hologate by themselves. There's another shot, and they were working all night for days trying to get the system up. There they are again. And then here's the Creative Works team. They're our partners in distribution. And, both parties didn't really know each other, but, so I'm sure that they were having a little apprehension of who these VR guys were. So we were both sort of taking a chance on each other. And then, people started to play Hologate. But still, nobody really knew virtual reality back then. There's a few other VR companies at IAAPA. And then more people started to show up. And the line started forming. And pretty soon, the line started going out the door. It was just incredible. And the word of mouth just spread pretty quickly. And here's a quick video. These guys are hilarious. And that started bringing a crowd. So I have to say that it was a very successful IAAPA, and our systems at the time were roughly $90,000, and we sold in 4 days 72 units, 7-2, and we were just blown away. We didn't know what happened, and that just took care of so many issues. So IAAPA was we rolled the dice, and IAAPA became that saving grace for the company. So we are now, it's only been a little over 2 years, and we are now the largest global out-of-home network for virtual reality. Over 400 plus systems sold, and we're in 35 countries. And we just hit our 5 million player milestone. And again, none of us could have expected this. We are just grateful at the response. And then COVID-19 happened. And if you think about it, all of our locations are location-based. And as you can imagine, they had to all shut down during this time. But Life and the rest of the executive team just circled the wagons, and we said, hey, listen, we have to figure out what we're going to do during this time. Of course, our customers, the operators cannot operate at this time, but what can we do? So we set up a robust system, a robust server, so that all 40 employees can work from home safely. And then we got to work. We knew that at some point, the stay-at-home order would be lifted. And we wanted to be there and for our operators and showing that we're already in motion to be ready for the reopening. So we recently just created the Hologate hygiene and safety standards. And that includes, we luckily had pallets upon pallets of disinfectant cleaning wipes in our warehouse. We just created a partnership with CleanBox, which is a UVC light sanitizer. And the Hologate, as some of you who may have played Hologate, it's separated into these quadrants which allow for social distancing already. So that was kind of a lucky break. So I want to stop here and tell you that, yeah, it hasn't been an easy road for either Hologate or myself, but I got to tell you that we just stayed positive. We just out of pure grit just kept moving forward, just like the times right now. And hopefully I can urge all of you to just support each other. I'm always here if you ever need to reach out and talk to me, advice, just somebody to chat with during this time. And I know we're going to be out of this soon. So I just thank all of you for allowing me this wonderful opportunity to speak to all of you and sharing my story, sharing Hologate's story. And thank you so much for the respect.
Oh, Greg, thank you. I know we were talking when you were developing your talk, and thank you for all the self-disclosure about, the good and not so good, because I think that's how we learn and prosper together. And that offer to be there during this time is so touching, Greg.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully that came across okay.
It came across very okay, and it is very uplifting to know and remind ourselves we're not alone during this time. There are people out here, and I know when I reached out for help, you were there 150%. So we're grateful to Yannicka and I and the team here. Hey, you're the man, Uncle Greg, from Paul Hynek. Thank you, Paul. So you were talking about, we've got a moment for one question.
Yeah.
You were talking about grit. How does one develop grit, or how did you find your grit during that time?
You know what? To be honest with you, I didn't have a choice. I wanted to be out from under my mom's support and eventually have the chance to move out of my sister's place, and also probably the most terrifying thing that I was facing was if I was gonna be employed again, if I was gonna find a job, any job, but I think it would have been really tough for me to not be in a position around creative people and being able to exercise my creativity. I think that was probably the most terrifying thing. So you just dig down deep and find that discipline to just put one foot in front of the other. And I really feel that was it was that fear, and also now that I was able to pull myself out of the situation, I want to do everything that I can do for everyone. And then that's what phase 2 is there for. So the community can come together. Even for Hologate, we're really excited about that. It took off in a way where we're able to create global awareness so that it'll help other virtual reality creators.
Greg, thank you so much.